Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. My name is Ian Utile, and it is the day after the election here. I'm with my friend Brock Pierce. Brock, thank you for joining me. It's nice to be able to connect with you. I imagine that you have a lot going on. First, let me just say thanks for the way that you've inspired me and other people, seeing you put yourself out there and be willing to represent us to be the President of the United States. For this election that's just ended. And certainly you've talked about your desire to do so 4 years from now. For those that don't know you, would you mind introducing yourself to people that have tuned in?
Yeah, hi. My name is Brock Pierce, and I just completed the first round in the great arena running for president of the United States of America as an independent candidate. And I'm so grateful to be here with you now. And I'm so glad, Ian, that I've inspired you, which is the entire intention, the entire goal of this campaign is to inspire you to act according to your conscience, to get involved, to be part of the solution.
Can you talk a bit about your desire to see a legitimate third party or several third-party options, not just for the national presidency, but also for all the other different offices, right? The Congress, Senate, governor, et cetera. Can you talk a bit about why that's best for America and for Americans?
I believe in liberty. I believe in freedom. I believe in choice. And I think we need more choices. And I can summarize what I've learned in this process to see how our choices are limited by design, by intention. There are forces at work that are attempting to prevent us from having more choices, third-party choices, independent choices. And I can summarize it quickly, which is that to be a candidate for president of the United States as a Democrat or a Republican, you need 25,000 petitions or signatures. As an independent candidate, you need about 700,000. Those numbers should spell it out pretty clearly. The system has been designed, the system has been rigged to prevent candidates such as myself from running. And I could talk to you for hours about all the ways in which that happens. In every election cycle, the bar gets higher and higher to prevent us from having that choice. And I think it's necessary that we have a government of, for, and by the people. And we desperately need more choice. I think we need people that are showing up, able to act according to their conscience. I've met so many Democrats and Republicans in this process that agree. They explain to me that they're not able to say what they believe, and they have to support causes that they don't believe in. And every time you do that, you are making a compromise, a moral, integral compromise. You are slowly becoming corrupted by that system that has absolute power. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so I pray that we find a path forward, collective path forward.
Recently, you posted a video, it was a speech that you were giving. You talked about how you're looking for 100 people that will put themselves out there, that they'll draft behind you, follow your lead, or be encouraged by you. Let your ceiling be their floor in the next couple of years and say, hey, I will run as an independent candidate. Can you talk a bit about why it is you're looking for 100 folks and what type of people you're looking to connect with and how they can reach out to you to say, hey, I'm raising my hand. I'm inspired. I'd like to talk with you about what this looks like for us to do this in more of a team collaboration than just I'm all by myself as a Lone Ranger.
Yeah, so another thing that I've learned through this process is if you see what I see, if you feel what I feel, and you're concerned about our collective future, and you realize that our government is that thing that governs over us, but we have the right, we have the privilege to choose that which governs over us. And so you choose to get involved. You choose to be part of the solution. You very quickly realize that it requires technology, ballot access, platform, get out the vote, all these systems that are, insurmountable for almost anyone to be able to create, that I've begun the process of creating those systems and tools, not just for me, but for you. And so I call on you, if you feel called, to get involved. But normally, if you choose to do that, you have to join one of the two major parties. And the quid pro quo, the deal is to use that infrastructure, you have to say, yeah, I will do what you say, and not what I think, not what I think is right. And so I'm building all of this infrastructure to assist you in 2021 and 2022. And so I'm looking for 100 candidates up and down the ticket to get involved, to be part of the change that we wish to see in the world. And so to contact me, I'm on almost all social media. You can come to brock.vote. You can start to reach out. And I'm looking to support you because teamwork makes this collective dream work.
That's right. There's a lot of things in campaign and what you stood for, what you stand for. It resonated with me consistently. As I listened to the things that you were saying, as I read the things that you and your team were writing, consistently, I thought, gosh, Brock is so articulate, saying the things that I believe and that many of my friends believe. For the things that you stood for this campaign, what has really been resonated most with people? What have people said to you, this was the thing that really, I just said, you know what? I'm not picking one of the two candidates I'm told I have. Those only two options. I'm writing Brock's name in. What has it been, a thing or a couple policies that you wanted to push that's really drawn people to you?
So it's a beyond policy. I'll take us there in a moment. But the main thing that resonated with people is why I'm running. I can summarize in one word why I ran for president, and that's love. Love for this country, love for every American, love and unity at a time where people have never heard that as a choice when voting our conscience. And love is the answer. You have to fear less, to love more. And that's the thing that really resonates with people, because that's the thing that is true to all of us. God is love. And we've been divided because of fear. And there's never been a time where love is needed more, love and unity. Policy stuff, there's a handful of things that I've talked about that resonate depending upon who you are, what you care about. I think that the idea of relegalizing nature, the idea of ending the war on drugs, specifically my willingness to pardon everyone in our criminal justice system for nonviolent cannabis-related crimes, resonates with a lot of people. Police and prison reform. We're supposed to be the land of the free. The idea that we have more people in prison than any other country in the world, both in total and per capita, is not freedom, I think, as any of us would perceive it. Technology. I think most of us recognize how technology has changed the world, changed all of our lives, all of our businesses, all of our institutions, and it will continue to do so. And technology is amoral. It is a tool. It is neither good or bad. How we use it will determine the impact it has. Things like fiscal policy, the US dollar, for example, being the foundation of our nation's economy, and the fact that it's at risk because of decisions that we've made domestically to erode faith, trust, and confidence in it. 22% of all dollars in existence were created this year, and that's frightening. And how technology can be used to enhance our currency, and the visionary sort of leadership and ideas that have been presented throughout this process. Mental health is another issue that's not been discussed. And it's one that is a very real issue, not just for our veterans and first responders, but everyone through this time of COVID. And the list goes on.
Love, I do love that you stand on that, and that's been the one word that matters most to you. Do you find that was also true with you the last 20 years in business? Did you drive a lot of your entrepreneurial pursuits based out of this thing? It's about love. It's about the heart. It's about treating others with kindness, building things for the right reason. Or was this a transition that you became more focused on that soul word, love, as you began this campaign?
Yeah. So in my 20s, I was more focused on me. I was living the struggle that most of us live. You know, how am I going to do something? How am I going to make more of myself? How do I get more in this dog eat dog world? And I was creating things and giving myself credit for those things that I did. Today, I give God credit for all of my successes, and I take responsibility for all of my failures or failings. In my 30s, and I turned 40 in 10 days, love became more and more the thing that shined through me as I took responsibility for my actions and understanding of the powers that I've been blessed with. And that has definitely been the case. I devoted myself to living in service. And in that process, that has helped open more and more doors. And living your life in service is not a sacrifice. It may seem that way in the beginning, but what you realize is the gift of giving is the gift that keeps on giving. And every day has just gotten better since the moment I chose to show up in service, to do everything I possibly can with the time that I've been given. I measure my success in life not by what I have, but by what I give and the impact that it has. And I hope through my actions that I can inspire you to be more of your best self.
You're a father of two daughters, and so you have an understanding of what it is to care for a child and what it is to care for a woman. I know that that's been a theme through the things that you've talked about in your campaign. Could you talk for a moment about how your family motivates you on one side, and then also there must be a sacrifice that your wife Crystal and your daughters make in you doing this? And could you talk a bit about that? Because there's a lot to be said for, you don't want to build a house until you've considered what it will take to build a house. You don't want to go to war until you consider what it will take to go into war and win that war. And so maybe you could talk a bit about how your family's been a motivating, driving factor, being a dad, being a husband, and also the sacrifice that needs to be made in order to do what you're doing, because that's something that for those that you're inspiring to follow your lead, those 100 people that you're looking for, they need to consider as well what the sacrifice is, not just for themselves, but for their family.
I encourage you to ask yourself, what are you prepared to do to make a difference in the world? And there's only so much time, so you have to choose your battles wisely. And as a father, as an adult, it's like, what is my responsibility? Well, I'm a steward. I'm here temporarily on this earth as a custodian. And when I leave this earth, I want to know that I left it better than I found it. Knowing that we are borrowing from future generations and to leave behind a world that the next generation not only can survive in, but they can thrive in. And so I do it for my children, for all the children, for the generation that follows and the generations that follow them. We're here temporarily. Let's make the most of it. Let's make it good, because we can have a good time doing good things. They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. You and I have spent time together in Puerto Rico. That's a big part of your focus the last several years. Puerto Rico did not have a chance to vote for president for this election, nor have they. It's something that's been considered. Can you talk a bit about Puerto Rico, your involvement there, and your hope for that part of our nation?
Yeah, so when I made the decision to live my life in service and to serve this country and our collective future, I knew I would need some training first. And so I'm like, well, what part of the country is struggling? What part of this country, could be better? And Puerto Rico was the obvious place to me. It's where it all started. And so I chose to move to Puerto Rico to see what I could do to be of service. And when Hurricane Maria hit, I was like, if not now, when? And so I moved to Puerto Rico following Hurricane Maria during the longest blackout in American history. And I've been on the ground learning everything I possibly can, studying the issues like food security, energy resiliency, jobs, innovation, philanthropy, government legislation, And I look forward to showing everyone the things that I've done in my 4-year term, now that we're 3 years in.
That's really good. I have a lot of honor for what you have done, what you continue to do there. One of the things that you and I have discussed a lot and even done an event around is blockchain or distributed ledger technology. I believe you're the first presidential candidate to ever be voted for through, you know, this new way of having a third party verify. That's a trustworthy thing. Can you talk a bit about how you see blockchain and that technology playing a role in politics moving forward?
Well, at the core, what is the philosophy of blockchain? And some people are super purist on what a blockchain is. And yes, it's part of a technology stack. It's a tool for hashing. We don't need to get into that, but at its core, philosophically, it's a tool to bring transparency. It's a tool to bring efficiency. It's a tool to bring immutability. It's a tool to bring trust in systems. And so this year, more than any year, our democratic process and the integrity of it has been called into question. And blockchain technology brings trust and integrity. And yes, we made history this election with the first ever vote for a president in a general election occurring on blockchain from a mobile phone in Utah County. And that vote was cast for me as president. It was the first vote cast in the state of Utah about 12 hours before everybody started to vote. And so for a moment, we had more votes than every other candidate combined, that being all of one. But it starts with one. It always starts with one.
What else do you think that you're at the very beginning of? Could you mentioned that it starts with one, besides being the first to be voted on the blockchain? I see that you're doing a lot of things that it's starting with one that should or can become something very significant. Things that are just being born right now that have happened with you during the last several months that you think that potentially people don't realize how this is just a very beginning of something that's going to become something very large. And what's your vision towards some of these things that are just starting with one, like having a presidential candidate being voted for on the blockchain?
Well, I think we're doomed if we don't do something. So let that be the clear call to action. And so we only have the power to change ourselves. By being our best selves, we have the ability to inspire others to be their best selves. And so as we become the change we wish to see in the world, we have the ability to inspire others to make those changes. And so we got a lot of problems right now, and innovation is the answer. Love and dreaming is the answer. And so I encourage you to think about what you can do and to dream the biggest dreams you possibly can to make a difference in the world right now. And when you step up as that first one, and if you show up in the right way with the right vision, someone else may say, I like what I see. And they may choose to get involved to help make that dream a reality. And it takes teamwork to make this collective dream work. So show up and be the change you wish to see in the world.
And as we kind of wrap our conversation up on that note of teamwork and collaboration, I've heard you mention several times Abraham Lincoln. He put together a cabinet of people that he disagreed with. And can you talk about the importance of not surrounding yourself with yes men and yes women, or surrounding yourself with people that will just be an echo chamber of what it is that you already believe, and why having diverse thoughts and beliefs and people around you has been important for you up to this point, and why you will continue to surround yourself with people that will bring diversity in terms of how you think through the issues that need to be solved.
Yeah, so we're all different. Thank God for that. Our differences are what make us unique. It's what makes us special. And that diverse thinking, that diversity in thought is what propels and moves society forward. And so we have to always be inviting and inclusive to bring people to the table so that we can share our differences, our different learnings, our different experiences. And sometimes we'll come to agreement. We'll evolve as a result of those conversations. Sometimes we'll agree to disagree. But by having that conversation, I can understand your perspective. I can understand the perspective of the other party. And through that understanding, we have an opportunity to build a bridge. We have an opportunity to find a path forward together. And it's so important to surround yourself with people that challenge you, that inspire you, that teach you. You know, I didn't get here by myself. I got here because of all of you and those conversations. And if you surround yourself in an echo chamber of only people that agree with you, you're going to be very limited in your understanding. And that's why we have to have care and compassion, to be inviting so that we can keep learning, so that we can keep growing, because we're in this together. We only have one earth. We share it. And the only way forward is figuring out how to coexist, how to function together as a society. And the conversations have stopped. As I like to say, these United States of America feel like the divided states of America. We're divided politically, economically, racially, religiously, while facing existential threats environmentally, technologically, pandemically, potential conflicts with foreign nations. We have to find a path back to unity. And it starts with being inviting and open to having those conversations, to be challenged, to have people disagree with you, and hopefully, in some instances, show you through that process the path forward.
Well, I think that's a great place to stop. So, Brock, I publicly salute you. I voted for you. I told the world I did. I haven't told the world who I voted for in the last 20 years. This is the sixth election. I've always voted for a third option. I've never chosen one of the two that where I was told I had to choose. It's my form of protesting, but not just protesting. I voted for you not just because you're my friend. I voted for you because I agree with what it is that you're saying, and I believe that you are going to be a tool and a catalyst for this nation to encourage other people like you to step up and start to say similar things and try to draw people toward great solutions to the problems that we're facing that can be solved. So thanks for taking a moment to connect with me. For those that watched live, we appreciate your attention. And for those that watch this afterwards, thanks for tuning in.